On this VB Challenge Cup final between the reigning Illawarra League premiers Collegians and the West Red Devils. No doubt the two standout teams in this pre-season competition to this point. Some different conditions we see tonight, as I'm sure you can see on your screen. The rain teeming down as both sides make their way onto the paddock. It's a different set of conditions to what we've seen throughout the pre-season comp. Johnny Pett joins me here. We were in the singlets, the shorts and thongs last week at Dapto, but we're rugged up here and under the tent tonight, Johnny.
Yeah, thanks, Mitch, and welcome to Zeens Park. We're in massive different attire here, Mitch. Last week it was thongs and singlet there at would have been 30+ degrees Dapto Showground. We've got the jeans on, the jackets on, and we're rugged up here at Zeens Park, but I think we're still in for a cracker of a game of football. As you said, Mitch, two of the best sides so far in this VB Cup Challenge. Come to the big dance today. Big prize money offer, a bit of silverware. You see the rain still coming down. The Western Suburbs Red Devils coming onto the field. A notable omission for the Western Suburbs Red Devils. Their star back rower, ex-NRL Clive Churchill medalist Glenn Stewart, out for the occasion. Mitch, do you think the loss of Glenn's going to do West any damage here, or do you think they're still going to hold it together and be able to come over this red-hot Collegians outfit?
Well, I'll tell you what, mate, any side with Glenn Stewart is going to be better than one without him, but I think did pick up a slight knock, I believe, against Dapto last week, and I think Pete McLeod just wanted to get some running in his legs. We'll probably wrap him up in cotton wool until the beginning of the season proper. Obviously, the winners, both grand finalists here, have passed away into that New South Wales Challenge Cup as well, so some games in the offing as Collegians are about to get us underway. So the kick will go down there. It's a wobbly one, spiralling around, so a tough first up task there for Kyle Lodge. He lets that one bounce around, and Will Tom will bring it back. And as we get to kick off, Johnny, straight away we already see that ground wet, although it does look in pretty good condition. Yeah, the track looks sensational out here. Big credit to the groundsman out here that's really kept this pitch in good condition. So we see West just working it out of their own area. Mitch, I tend to think with this weather we're going to see a lot of direct play up the middle from these two sides. Collegians, they've been real impressive so far in their 3 games. They've won both 2 games against Corrimal and Helensburgh by the length of the Flemington Straight, really. They've been so dominant. As we see an early 40-20 attempt there from Rodriguez. He might have got it too, so that's a great first up blow there from Justin Rodriguez. Perfect. That's absolute gold in these conditions. A great first up set there. His forwards really did the work for him. Big Dylan Laurie there. Charlie Leotinger at the back as well. Sorry, Nathan Leotinger there, sorry. But will be the tap there, and a great kick on the end of it from Justin Rodriguez. I was about to say, Johnny, how important the kicking game will be and whether the likes of Jared Boyle, Ben Jones in the Dogs outfit would give him a bit of an edge in that department. But we've just seen there J-Rod more than capable of putting the ball on the toe as Rodriguez now. He goes second man on that edge to Jimmy Green, who started out there. He's pulled down just short, so an early test for the Dogs' defence. Daly at dummy half onto Leotinger. He'll go off his left foot. He'll be made to play at 5 metres out. So West turning it on early. Zach Green, well, that's a great pick up there. It was an awful ball there. No, sorry, I put the mock on him. He may have just bobbled it. Not at all the pass you want from your dummy half, Johnny, in these conditions.
No, definitely not. If they're going to... Those passes are going to have to really be direct right into the breadbasket of everyone tonight. It's going to be damp conditions, and this ball's going to be gold tonight. And what a start from J-Rod there with his kicking game. Did you give him that tip during his interview this week, Mitch?
Mate, no, I don't give him the tip at that. But I'll tell you what, I did talk to him about the depth they do have in the halves, as we've touched on a couple of times through these pre-season games. The likes of Brad Speechley, Tony Pello have been outstanding for the Devils as well in these matches. So I think we'll see tonight Rodriguez and Zach Green, probably Pete McLeod's first choice halves, but perhaps just the way those two guys have been nipping at their heels, it might bring a decent performance out of them, as we just see Kane Brennan there just dumped on his head a little bit there. Not much trouble there from Kane. He just goes back out to his spot. So that'll be big on the tip sheet tonight. You can't be giving piggyback penalties, especially when you've got a guy like Jared Boyle who can find touch in the fashion he just did there. He pinches about a good 40 metres. And that's like Cassidy over on that side. He'll be made to play it on halfway. Boyle now onto O'Brien. We might just see a bit of that in terms of Boyle and Jones getting into first receiver, because grinding away in the ruck could be a bit of a luckless, thankless task in these conditions. There's a good run there from Chalker. Really steamed onto that one. Bit of a second effort there, tackle from Green. Lucky not to be pinged for that one. Brodie Rigg out of dummy half. Great leg drive there from Rigg, and he's dropped the ball though, so that's twice now I've managed to put the commentator's mock on people, Johnny, and we're only 4 minutes in.
You're talented at that, Mitch. Very talented at putting the mock on, and I think we both are. But we see another mistake, so one each of the mistakes. Both sides will just pack the scrum, and as we spoke about the halves for West earlier on, they've just got so much depth there, and last week we watched Zach Green play a little bit of reserve grade, Mitch, and we both just thought, wow, he's way too valuable to be playing in this grade, and he stepped up and played a bit of first grade last week, and he was dominant, and Pete McLeod's opted for him and J-Rod to start in the halves this week, and what a good halves pairing that Western Suburbs have got there, and the depth that they have got this season in that area.
You see that one, he's just gone past the perpendicular again, so both sides guilty of that. Can happen a bit in these sorts of conditions when, footing's a bit difficult. I don't know how many boys are wearing the screw-ins out there. Now, the NRL players carry 2 sets of boots everywhere. I'm not sure if they do that in the Illawarra League. So both sides now guilty of some early piggyback penalties. That's Daly now with the first inbound pass. Kyle Lodge really winds up into that, but he was met by some solid defence there. Daly at dummy half again. Dummies to Laurie, hits Rankmore. He runs hard in there. Coates and O'Brien making the tackle with Rigg. They go left again to Rodriguez. Leotinga back under, so heavily involved early on, Leotinga. Quick play the ball there, well slowed down after he found one of the dead ants, but Rodriguez now on to Green. Green obviously familiar surroundings for Jimmy, captain coach of Corrimal here last year. As we see Rankmore there going off his right foot. Daly, they go blindside again. Rodriguez right to the line, drops that on the toe. And cleaned up well there by Cameron Scott at the back. But another good kick there from Rodriguez. Certainly involving himself early on, the skipper. And another good set really with the ball tucked under. The West forward giving a bit of grief to the Dogs guys with the footwork. We have to say the defending premiers do have the size advantage out there. But a bit of footy being shared around. The likes of Lodge, the likes of Rankmore, Leotinga. Bit of footwork, all of them. Just asking a few questions through the middle, Johnny.
Definitely, those little guys are really going to be valuable as this game goes on around the middle. These big Collegians forwards in these wet conditions aren't going to be as agile from side to side. We see a solid drop kick from Collegians over the halfway line. So West will bring it back over the halfway line and set up for some good field position here, Mitch. And Rodriguez, he's got the ball on the string early. Yeah, he does early on. Dylan Laurie now. He'll be looking for a big game against his Warner Dogs pack, you have to think. Leotinga again through the middle. And that's another penalty, and that looks like it's inside the 10. And we've seen a couple of NRL games, Johnny, blowing the pee out of the whistle on the 10 metres. And as we always talk about, those sorts of things do seem to filter down into these ranks, as they probably should. And Collegians ping just there, and probably no surprises really in the conditions. Pete McLeod from the bench puts the 2 fingers up. And Zach Green will attempt the goal here. Yeah, we seen last week in the Western Suburbs Dapto game, Mitch, that there was a few penalties blown in that game. And we did speak about the NRL and the penalties that have been given in that competition that's filtered down into the Illawarra League. And we've seen it again last night in the Melbourne and the Cowboys game, and a lot of controversy today in all the papers about all these penalties that were blown. We see one penalty early here awarded to Western Suburbs, and 2 points on offer. Probably a real good decision made by Pete McLeod's men to take these 2 points, as points are going to be a premium in these conditions tonight. Particularly one right in front. Interesting one though, Mitchy Porter also not out there. He's razor sharp off the tee, so Zach Green stepping up for the kicking duties. More than capable in his own right. He is directly in front. So we just see a bit of a halt in the rain. Screen just moves in now. Gets a good hefty boot on that one. That goes over the fence. That's going to be a tough task for the ball boys. So we see him now looking for a bit of a hole in the fence, but it is the first blow struck by the Devils. They're up 2-0, 8 minutes into this one. Pete McLeod probably pretty happy with the sets they've put together with the footy and the kicks they've got on the end of them, Johnny. Definitely, Mitch. He'll be real happy with the start that Western Suburbs have produced out here. But Collegians, they tend to come out of the blocks a bit slow. We've seen in season 2017 and so far through this season. We watched them against the Rule a couple of weeks ago out at Gibson Park. As we see a solid contact there, Mitch, and there's a bit of feeling in this game, isn't there?
Yeah, that man Dylan Laurie, as we said, he will want to step up against this pack that does have a bit of a reputation in size for dogs, but he's really throwing his weight around early, Dylan Laurie. He's actually got a back up for the Illawarra team against Group 7 on Sunday. He's certainly not playing like that at the moment. I'll tell you what, though, he'd be the first forward I'd be handing a jersey to in that Illawarra South Coast side for the country championships. As we see Josh Daly also going to be in that game. He takes it up over the 40. Green at dummy half finds Rodriguez. He's outside the 40 this time, but finds the grass again. Another tough assignment down there for Cameron Scott, and a good chase on the kick there as well, but just undo their work there. I think that one might have just crept up a little bit. Do seem to see that when the ball and the ground underfoot is a bit slippery. So a bit of a let-off penalty there for the Dogs, and I think they just might be a bit relieved to see that one, Johnny. They've had the ball put in behind them a couple of times, and we are only sort of 10 minutes in, but haven't had a whole lot of footy just yet.
No, and West just seemed to have the edge on top here. There was a great kick chase there, led by Colby Pello and also the fullback Luke Towers. A couple of the speedsters in this Western Suburbs side, and we'll look for them later on in the game to be around that centre of the field, really trying to use their footwork around these big forwards. And Mitch, I like the match-up here tonight, the two number 9s. I think that's going to be in for a great. We've got young Josh Daly and also Brody Regan. They're two of the up-and-coming in this competition. And I can see them later on throughout the game just really scooting out a dummy half and finding those lazy markers and making some good metres up the middle.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Johnny. Two really good running dummy halves. Both very clever at picking their mark too. Don't really overplay their hand too often. As we see Blake Phillips now taking it up over the 40. Held there by Lodge and Rankmore. Or rather, Daly involved with Lodge. As we see Coates now taking it up to the 30. As we said, 152 points scored in 3 games for the Dogs. And there we see again, and it's part of that crackdown we've spoken about. They'll say he didn't get his foot to that one, and got to give him marks for consistency, Johnny. We saw a few of those last week. We saw some offside penalties. We've seen it, as we touched on, at NRL level last night. Some penalties for inside the 10. It was continuing today in the Penrith Bulldogs game, and a lot of fans blowing up, but I think you've got to put some of it back on the players, I think. They've been told there's going to be an edict on play the balls in the 10 metres, and I think they're just as culpable when the penalty counts rack up as the men with the whistle.
We talk about these coach killers, Mitch, and that's one of them. It's just simple football. I think you get taught that in the under 6s and under 7s. Put your foot to the ball and roll it behind you, and these guys are playing first grade rugby league and Illawarra competition, and the referees are going to hammer down on it. It's all good and will, and consistency from the referees is what we'd not like to see.
As Green now, he's 15 metres out. They go blindside Daly. Rodriguez back on the inside looking for Towers. He got put on his backside for his trouble. And then, no, they'll send him back and say he's just crept off his mark there. So Towers with a do-over on the play the ball. Have to think he'll get this one right. He does. So they go now to Green. He's got support. I need about a trot there, Jimmy Green, but still edging his way forward. He's a metre out. So West again with some good field position. Green, he's put that one on. It's nicely in the in goal, and they'll say it's gone dead. It was a good effort there from field. He really got to it, and tell you what, Colley's just guilty of ball watching a bit there, Johnny. If he had got to that, I'm sure Nathan Fean on the sideline would have been pretty filthy.
Yeah, they were looking. They thought it was going to go over the dead ball line, but it had a good little angle on it, that kick from Green. It sort of started banana bending back as we see another penalty. It looks like an incorrect play the ball again. We'll just see what the referee, and it is Mitch, and another one. So they are going to clamp down on this, and consistency, they're going to keep up, these referees, in penalising teams.
And I think we've just seen the 2 points go up, so they're going to attempt another 2 points. Again, can't really blame them in the conditions. Have to think, puts them up by 4, the try margin, and any conversion is going to be difficult, particularly out wide with the footing so unsure underfoot. And West, as they make their first lot of replacements, really all over the Dogs here. They've had not much football to speak of. And twice now guilty of not playing the ball correctly. Not sure if it's something they practice through the week, but have to think it'll be an edict being issued by Nathan Fean from the sideline to get the insert word here, foot to the ball.
You reckon Feensy might go back to basics on Tuesday, Mitch?
He might do. He might go back to basics in the change rooms, I think. We are 6 minutes out from the first stoppage. But it is something you touched on, Johnny. It's hard to put your finger on why, but have been guilty of some slow starts in more than probably just this pre-season competition, into last season as well, of course. Very well known for absolutely coming home with a full head of steam, but do sometimes leave themselves a bit to do, at least in the back end of halves.
It's like they go into half-time, Mitch, and just wait for Nathan Fiend's inspirational talk or yelling speech, whatever it gives them half-time, and think, oh, well, we've got to really knuckle down here and come out a different side in the second half. But they're not the reigning premiers for any Mitch. They're just they're talented all over the field. I'm sure once they get a bit of ball in the hands and work their way down into Western Suburbs territory, we'll see the real Collegians step up. But at the moment, West just seem to be hammering Collies down their own end.
As we see Green moving in now. He struck that one pretty well, and the flags go up. So Mitch who, the West fans say, he's 2 from 2, Zach Green.
That kick was successful, make the score 4 points to 0 in favour of West.
They might be still filthy on him missing that after the buzzer attempt last week at Dap Day Showground, after that entertaining 80 minutes of rugby league we did witness.
It really was. A lot of twists and turns in that one. They said things can turn quickly. We watched that game. We called it together, Johnny. Probably the game of the pre-season through all Collies at Gibson Park a fortnight ago. So we see Laurie now steaming onto that one again. But in that game too, they missed the jump a little bit. The rule came out in that game just a little bit more willing to get some bruises, a bit more willing to get themselves into the contest. But once the Dogs did get going, we all saw the result as a come-from-behind victory. But I'll be looking to get a kick on the end of this set now, as we see that man you spoke about, Johnny, Josh Daly, just looking for his opportunities. He gets the ball away there to Rankmore. Daly now onto Green for the kick. And that's another good kick. He split the winger and the fullback. So, got to be said so far, Johnny, an absolute kicking clinic from this pair from West. It is the irony I said beforehand. One of the things I had marked down on the tip sheet was that it could give the Dogs an edge, the kicking game they have there, but completely on point, the 7 and 6 for Devils, mate.
Yeah, well, we watched a few weeks ago Jared Ball really just turn a game at Gibson Park on its head through his kicking game in his direction. And I was thinking the same thing coming here tonight, Mitch. I was thinking that the kicking game from Collegians is just going to be the edge over Western Suburbs. But J-Rod and Green, they've just really stepped it up another notch here early with their kicking game and really put Western Suburbs in great field position.
Made some great contact there. Dylan Laurie on Jared Thompson. What a pickup Thompson is, obviously, for the Collies. He was the premiership winning skipper the last time they hoisted the flag. Spent some time over in Western Australia, but he's back. Handy guy to bring off the bench. As we see Jared Boyle, he gets the kick on this one. And really, I may be wrong, but only the first or second time they've got to a kick in this one so far, the Dogs. They'll be looking to amp the pressure up now. The Devils really bunched in behind the play the ball. That's Colby Pello in from the centres, taking that one forward. So we see some replacements onto the field. Zach Blay, Marty Cramp coming onto the paddock. Rankmore and Leotinga getting a spell, and probably a well-earned one from those two, both being very good early on. Will Tom takes it up over the 30. He's 35 metres out from his own line, but tough going in this set for the Devils. They'll go to Green for the kick again. Heaves that one down towards Brad Manton down there. So it was from deep inside his own territory, but not a bad kick there from Green. He's going to make the Dogs do the hard work out of their own end. Kane Brennan, former Devil himself, taking it up towards halfway. So good at that, Kane Brennan. Really comes in and helps his forwards out a lot from his whatever position he's playing in the back five. And really just their second journey into the Devils' half here, Collies, and that ball's come out. But they'll say it got a bit of help. Certainly looked that way, the way it did come out there. And Boyle with the taps. They won't look for the penalty. Liam Cassidy winds up there.
Was that an old school goose step there?
It was like Lafayette Peliasena from back in the day with the Warriors. We see Charlie Fangar now moving his way forward. He's just come onto the paddock. As they go to Jones. Jones right to the line. Chalker steaming onto that one. rig now, dummy half. They've got players left and right. And he's passed it a little dart over from close range there. I'm sure that was on the Devils tip sheet, and he's pulled up a metre short there. Jones out to Boyle, flat-footed. And a tip on there from Cassidy over towards Effaramo. He'll drop it on the toe and, well, a bit disjointed there. Not at all the set Nathan Feeney would have been looking for. It was some early promise there, Ben Jones on this side, but just a bit shallow there. And it amounts to nothing, Johnny.
I thought they would have played a little bit more direct in that set there, Mitch, and they had their opportunity camped down on West Line there, but just seen a little gap out on that right-hand edge, and they've just tried to throw the ball out and create a little bit of magic. But in these conditions, Mitch, that's going to be hard to do. As we see West getting another good kick on the back end of a set.
It's an early one from Green. Goes down towards Scott, and he's just caught him out again, so he's found the turf. Clever kick there from Greeny. It was early in the tackle count, but he's put the pressure right back on the Dogs. There's only 48 seconds now till the first break, and you have to think has been just the 2 penalty goals, so certainly not that dire for the Dogs, but they'll be pretty keen to have this first spell, and perhaps Feensy get out there and just have a chat to his troops.
Yeah, looking at those Collegians players just getting back after that kick, I think they'll be itching to have a little bit of water and a break as we see another penalty.
They're going to have to tap and go, you'd think. Not much time on the clock. Just 20 seconds ticking down, so Benny Jones with the tap. From the Alfie Langer school, he doesn't even look at the post, Benny Jones. He just wants to tuck it under and run. That's what makes him genuine quality as a player as they go to Boyle. Second man now for Scott. Promising out there for Saxonona. Their first real dig at the defence as the siren blows. So we'll go to our first stoppage. And it is 4-0 to the Devils, who, it's probably got to be said, Johnny, in that first quarter came out and just played to the conditions perfectly.
Yeah, they sure did, Mitch, and I really wasn't expecting that start from Western Suburbs to be so dominant over Collegians in that first 20 minutes. And coming here tonight, I was thinking Collegians, they're long odds-on favourites of what we're seeing in the previous 3 outings in this VB pre-season Challenge Cup. But they've really stuck it to them early, and there's been no love lost out there. There's been some enormous contact we've seen early. There'll be a few bumps and bruises out there going into their second stanza. And I think Nathan Feen will going to give one of his famous speeches and really give a rattle up and a big rev up to these Collegians boys.
It is interesting, obviously, they're not the conditions either coach rocks up to a ground wanting to see or wanting to play with, but in the pre-season as it is, it's always, you learn a lot about your squad in a night like this, in conditions like this, I think. It's pre-season, it's Friday night, a lot of the guys have probably worked today, they've rocked up here, it's rainy, it's wet, it's a bit chilly. It's very easy to rock up and not really feel like playing footy at all. These are the sort of games and the sort of conditions where matches are won on attitude more than finesse. And both coaches will probably learn a lot about their respective sides in how they go about their business with still an hour of play here. But as we've said, it's interesting, Johnny, through this pre-season, I think most teams and most coaches are happy to go to the quarter system, but it really has been a factor in some games. We've seen a lot of times teams really with their foot on the throat and the other team getting a bit of a breath of fresh air from the stoppage. Like we said, probably coaches from both sides, on both sides of the equation, probably enjoy the quarters in the pre-season. It gives them more time to make some changes and to work on some things, but more of a factor than I thought it would be coming into the VB Challenge Cup.
Yeah, it had a real effect on a lot of matches. We see teams with so much momentum building and then going into a break and coming out in that next quarter and losing that momentum and giving the edge back to the other sides. We've seen it a lot so far in this pre-season. I don't think that Pete McLeod, he would have wanted that break really as the game went on. I mean, a break would have been good. They have had a hard 20 minutes of football, but they just had all the momentum, all the flow, and they were really dominating that 20 minutes of football, and especially Zach Green and J-Rod in their kicking game, just turning these big Collegians boys around. I think it's just going to keep coming into play, this kicking game, playing through the middle, turning these big forwards around. And we speak about West's bench earlier on about the ability to bring on these bench guys, the littler guys, Speechley around that ruck, and really he's going to be a handful when he does come on around these big tiring Collegians forwards.
It's interesting, of course, Collegians. I said the same thing about the grand final combatants last season. Dapto, when they got to the grand final, it didn't surprise me, both those sides, because a lot of sides can throw a lot at you. They were probably the two sides that were the best at absorbing pressure. They really could roll with the punches and absorb that pressure and get through these tough stretches and then really come back and, to use an MMA reference, they're really dangerous off their back. They can always come back and bite you from anywhere, and certainly that's what Collegians will be looking to do here as we just see a bit of a pick-up in the rain. Got to look at Nathan Feen. He's in the shorts and the joggers. He's all business. Not worried about the conditions at all. As we said, it is raining. It's not too chilly, though, so not too testing for the players.
I'll just touch on West for a moment there, Mitch. And last season in 2017, they had a real young squad. They were impressive. They just got beaten in a couple of games where they could have won. They just missed out on gaining them 2 points. And I just got this feeling watching a few of these games in the pre-season that I think that could be out of their game for this season in 2018. They just look like a tighter squad. That year of development through first grade last year with the young squad's really going to be so beneficial for them in 2018. And what we've seen in this pre-season so far is just their ability to really close out some games. And like, I know they got beat last week, but it was a game that really could have gone both ways.
Yeah, it was a big discussion point when I spoke to Justin Rodriguez for the Elora Mercury this week. Obviously, he said the addition of Glenn Stewart is not there tonight will help them in some of those tight ones, but he was very confident just another year on himself. Zach Green, obviously Josh Daly there as well at dummy half. They're another year together. He just thinks they'll, with or without Glenn Stewart, be a lot better in that area. And they've certainly come out managing this one so far as Kyle Lodge comes in off the sidelines. Good solid contact there again. Slowish there from Lodge as we see Daly now on to Laurie, who hasn't had a spell, as he takes it up over the 20. Josh Daly at dummy half again, on to Zach Blay. Goes up his left foot there. Good defence. It was Jared Boyle. He can lead with and without the football, Jared Boyle. As that one goes down towards the touch, and the first one they managed to take on the full there, Cameron Scott making good metres to cover that one. And not awful, but probably, after how good they were in the first quarter, probably the worst kick West have produced on the back end of a set there, as Collegians now take it up towards halfway.
They've gone back to J-Rod there for that kick. He made the first kick of the first quarter, and then Zach Green was predominantly doing all the kicking, but back to Rodriguez then for a get-out-of-area kick. And it was about 50 on the fly, Mitch, that kick. So both their kickers have really been kicking 50-plus off the boot, getting out of their own area. But Collegians on the attack now over the halfway line, Mitch. And what can Collegians produce? Something? Bit of spark here from their halves.
As they come left now to Phillips. It is the last tackle. They're 25 metres out. We may just see this one go high. No, Benny Jones, he shimmies across and he's put that one over there. It's a testing one on that side, and Hurst over there's batted that one backwards into the arms of the Dogs, and they're right on the attack here. Liam Cassidy close to the line, still going forward. And they've wiped down the tackle count, so another set of 6 here for the Dogs. Boyle. Oh, it's straight away. The pressure valve just released. Jared Thompson just took a bit of a peek at the defensive line there, and a huge let off for the Devils.
There's a little bit of that Collegians magic there, Mitch, that cross kick from Jones. Just batting back there, repeat set of 6, or another set of 6 given to them, but just couldn't hold the ball. They tried to play direct there through the middle.
Good ball there from Marty Cramp onto Daly. Blay. They just weren't quite up on the footy there, the Devils. It was a good offload from Cramp, but they were all back waiting for the next play. So we see Grian takes it up towards the 40. I always say, John, if you're going to rush either of these kickers for Collegians, don't do it by yourself. They can absolutely tear you to pieces. You've got to do it in numbers. As that kick finds Scott on the full again. It was still a hefty one there from Green. He'll bring it back. Certainly making the night tough for this back three thus far, but a good return from Scott. Takes it up to his own 30, and a mousetrap play there. Effaramo and Kane Brennan. Usually see that close to the opposition try line than your own, but did work to some effect there.
We've seen a goose step and a mouse trap. It's 1980 at Zeens Park, Mitch. So Nathan Feen's gone back to the archives here and given out a few moves to his Collegians boys tonight.
Yeah, I believe they're also selling KB at the beer tent. It's a throwback. I'll tell you what, they're playing very old school, both sides, forcibly by the conditions. As Brody Rigg pinches a good little 15 metres there. Devils well advised not to go to sleep on Brody Rigg at dummy half, as Boyle now just rolls that one in. It'll sit up for him, you would think, as Hurst goes back, and he picks that one up quite well, really. And he brings it to 10 out.
Not the worst set, but I think Jared Ball might just turn around to a few of his boys and say, how about you give me a bit of a chase on the kick? They were a bit lethargic coming through on that one. Really could have pinned them right down in their own end, although they're still doing it tough. Here the Devils through time as Colby Pello now in from left centre. So ultimately not a bad set defensively for the Dogs thus far. Really making the Devils work out of their own end. Dylan Laurie, again, mountain of work from Dylan Laurie. He's up towards the 30. Plays it there to Daly. Marty Cramp taking the ball forward. Still edging his way forward. They can't put him to ground. And the ball's just spilled out there. So it looks like we're just going to have a knock-on call. Big Marty there appealing for a penalty. Referee looked to both touch judges, but he'll say that one did spill. So ultimately Jared Boyle does get a reward for his good kicking behind there.
Yeah, he'll be a little bit filthy on his teammates there about that kick chase. It was a nice little deft kick there and really split the fullback and the winger, and it was a great opportunity for Collegians to really hammer West in their own area, but a good return from Hurst, brought it out over his 10-metre line, and Collegians in good field position here, Mitch, about 35 out from the try line. We see them on the attack.
Brennan now taking it up towards the 20. As they go to Jones at dummy half. Charlie Faingar, he bumps away from Kyle Lodge's tackle. That's a good carry from the big man. He takes it up towards the 10. We'll play there as we see Boyle shift right to left. Second man for Jones. And very well read there. It was Field out here in the centres. He was just all over Ben Jones there. Perhaps saw Boyle looping around. It's a play they do like to use. Collies and young Field there wide awake to that one.
Yeah, it was a huge defensive effort there from Field. He really had only eyes for Ben Jones, and there wasn't that much room there to move for Collegians. I was surprised they actually went to the blind side and tried to create that move, as Western Suburbs did have numbers on that side. I just look, big Rory O'Brien's onto the field, Mitch, and 19 on his back. We spoke about it off air. That number 8 probably just doesn't fit, and he's got the 19 on his back.
That's how big he is. He's a block of flats, isn't he?
Yeah, and I'm just looking at that front row that Collegians have packed down, and it is massive.
It's proven. Proven, Johnny. It is the front row that took them to the Illawarra League title in 2013. The last time prior to last year, as Rodriguez has gone straight through over on that side. He's pinning his ears back, showing plenty of toe, Rodriguez. He's got Cameron Scott coming across in cover, and I think the ball's just come out cold there. Or was it Pello on that side? It was Pello, so yeah. I was right, J-Rod's not that quick. As Colby Pello, he really did break into the clear there. And just as Cameron Scott came across, it looked like he was trying to adjust to perhaps put a fend in his chest, and he spilt the ball, but counter-attacking from their own end there.
Yeah, it was a great run by Pello, and not unfamiliar territory for him, Zeens Park. As we see, he did play for the Corrimal side in season 2017. But how quick did he look? You were calling him J-Rod, and I was sort of thinking, no, I don't think he's that quick. No offence to Justin Rodriguez, but Pello, he just had some wheels out on that left-hand edge.
Absolutely did. Sorry, Colby, I'll buy you a beer, mate. So we see the feed to the scrum. The rain really coming down now. Jones gives that ball on to Ona, and that's a good carry there. He's ended up on his back, but for a little guy, incredibly strong. Actually, it was Effaramo, so I'm doing a very good job on the team sheet. You'll have to blame it on the rain. As we see Rick now taking it up over his own 30. Scott in a dummy half. Jones here on the left. He brings Phillips underneath. Great first up contact there from Rankmore, but the offload away from Phillips. It's uncanny his ability to absorb contact and stay on his feet. Blake Phillips, it's quite remarkable at times, as Brennan in a dummy half onto Faingar. Faingar really making his presence felt since going onto the paddock. Quality player, played at Intrust Super Cup level and in Queensland Cup, as is that man Rory O'Brien, and of course a couple of NRL appearances to his name as well. So the really top of the crop front rowers there now as they switch it back to Faingar, and he's put it on the toe. I don't know if it was the last tackle, but not a bad one really, has got to be said by the big fella. And Kane Brenner with a good chase in the end of it. Zach Green doing the clean-up work, but the Devils with it all to do to get out of their own end. And now Collie's really shoulder to shoulder in defence here. That was Liam Cassidy, and certainly a bee in their bonnet here. And now a penalty. Well, that's a relieving one. We're just saying how they were really getting up off their line to put some pressure on the Devils, as we see Nathan Feen just adjust the hat, which a couple of years watching him, it's usually a sign of frustration.
They really had West on their backs there in that set. They were really coming off their line and putting on some great shots there. But just a little bit itchy there in the defensive line as the referees called them offside, and a good clearing kick over the halfway line, Mitch, and West back over into Collegians territory.
Greer now up over halfway. Been a real grind the first 10 minutes of this second quarter. As we see now, Daly out from dummy half. So they come right again to Green. Brings Cramp underneath. Straight at Brodie Rigg. So a promising set for the Devils. Daly onto Green. Over to Lodge. Lodge skips off his right foot. Met well there in the tackle of Blake Phillips. He'll play it still 20 metres out. Zach Green again on the inside there. So they come right now to Green. He drops that on the toe. It's in the in goal, and Kane Brennell goes back to field that one. So getting right back to what served him well in that first quarter. A good kick on the end of that set. Johnny, I like seeing Zach Green bring some of the guys underneath. In these conditions, side to side, he's not going to serve you all that well. He's certainly getting his forwards and just changing the angle up and asking some questions of the defence in the middle.
Yeah, someone like Rankmore, as we've seen in that last set, coming underneath Green throughout this game. I think we're going to see a lot more of that, and another good kick on the end of a set from Zach Green. We see a short drop out here from Collegians. It's regathered.
They've scooped it up, and it's that man Blake Phillips. Well, he's taking it right up towards the 40, so just like that, they've turned it right around. Jared Boyle with the short kick onto Blake Phillips. I wonder if they practiced that way back in their under-18s days. Obviously played a mountain of footy together, those two, and we saw the fruits of it just there. Coates now up over halfway. He'll play it to Rigg. They come left to O'Brien, conspicuous in the orange boots. He takes it over the 40. We'll play it just a couple of metres shy of the Devils' 30-metre line. They go to Jones, and that's a clever little kick in there behind Towers. You'll want it to sit up for him, and it will. And a great chase on it there from Manton as well. And there we go, as we see, they're starting the rest of their way back into that one, and they force their first repeat set of this one. And just a little heads-up play there from Benny Jones.
Yeah, all class, Benny Jones. He just showed his ability there with his kicking game and really just had that on a string there. And it was a good chase also, and Western Suburbs had to push it over the dead ball line. But go back to that drop out there, Mitch, and West really weren't expecting that. Neither were we up here, were we? We were expecting a big, deep drop out. And at 4 points to 0, you'd be expecting a long drop out, not a short one. It was a great move. It paid off well for Collegians.
That's a monster drop out there, Green. He's kicked that down. It's still rolling back towards the 30, so the Devils a good chase on the end of it. And, well, there you go. Both sides just counter-punching well. We said it was a bit of a grind early on. Some great contact there as well. So, all of a sudden, it's starting to look a lot less like a pre-season game and a lot more like a final, Johnny.
Definitely. Then the rain's coming down, and they're not putting the back foot either side. They're really going forward and putting their bodies on the line. And I think as this game goes on, we're going to see some more contact between these two sides.
So see Thompson now take it up towards the 30. He'll play it there to Rigg. Got men both sides of the ruck. Second man down there for Scott. Hit there, good solid contact again from the Devils' defence. Last tackle. They've got Jones at first receiver, Boyle on his outside. They go to Boyle, and they'll run it here. Blake Phillips, he'll throw it back out to Boyle. Boyle now trying to get away from Pello, and Pello will fling him to ground last tackle. And very, very uncharacteristic from both Jones and Boyle there to not be aware of the last tackle, or to at least take a poor option on it if they were aware the arm was up.
I think they might have been aware, Mitch. It's just that West defence were really up early and shut down Jones, then shut down Boyle.
Shot there from O'Brien. Coming up off the line there. Really letting Kieran Rankmore know he's in a game. Leah Tinger had a great first stint, and he's punched through the other side there towards the 40. Plays it to Daly, onto Green. This is Lodge on that side. Tackled well there by Jones. Kane Brennan also involved. And you just see Zachary coming into that hobbling slightly, but he looks like he's okay. Leah Tinger, second carry of the set, and another good one as well. Finds his front. As they go to Rankmore back on the inside, so still turning the ball back, really working this Collegians middle over. As we see Green putting that kick down there towards Scott. And a good chase on the end of it, so again, as we see, if these games and these conditions are won on the kicking game, Johnny, it's certainly where we've seen West Advantage show up on the scoreboard. Just been better in that regard so far in this one.
Yeah, confidence is high for Western Suburbs. We can see Zach Green there again putting another great kick and a good kick chase there on the end of that kick. We see the rain just keeps coming down. It's getting heavier here, Mitch. But we're going to see some... I reckon the highlight reel is going to be sensational for this game with the big hits. We've seen some great contact. There is absolutely no love lost out here between these two sides.
Yeah, they're right into it. The more this one goes on, this is Chalker, another man who sets it back up for that game on Sunday. Jones, they've rushed him again. Great pressure on the last tackle again. Well, that has to have been something on the tip sheet. The Devils have been absolutely all over those two men who do the kicking for the Dogs. And Ben Jones under a mountain of pressure there. Will Tom goes off his left foot. They'll drive him backwards, back inside his own 30-metre zone. He'll play it as this rain really coming down now. This is Jason Green, who's just come on for his first stint. 4 minutes 57 left in this one. And you do start to wonder, Johnny, West been right on top in this one, but still only 4 points to the good. Have to think in this last 4 minutes they'd love to just get over that line and really drive home the advantage they've built in this one.
Yeah, I think either side that's going to make a mistake is really going to play into the hands of the other team, and I think if the chance is given for either of these sides to just get a little sniff, it's going to result in 4 points. Either that or we're going to see a penalty and another 2 points on offer, Mitch. Points are at a premium. It's only the 4 points been on offer due to 2 penalty goals. Zach Green slotting both. As we see Collegians march down the field and a penalty awarded. Not the ideal end of the set there for Western Suburbs in defence, but the Collegians boys, they needed that.
Absolutely. It was a late in the set penalty. They are coach killers, those ones. So Collies with a chance to mount something. Brennan receives the inbound pass. This is Chalker. He takes it up towards the 20. So certainly some opportunities now in this quarter for the Dogs. Have been basically camped down this end for most of it. As we see Thompson now taking it up towards the 10. Rig now, second man, out the back there for Boyle. Long ball, some space for Owner. Colby Pello over there. Good battle, that one thus far. Out from dummy half now. Couldn't see the number on that one. The vision very obscured here. I think it was Josh Cusbrook has a flat ball there. A beautiful one too. And Jared Thompson has gone over. It was that man, Jared Boyle, I believe. And just like that, as we said, West really have been on top in this one. They'll look up at the scoreboard and you have to think probably find themselves trailing by 2. Got to be a tough pill to swallow, Johnny.
Oh, definitely. They're going to go into the break here, down 6 points to 4. And 5 minutes ago, they were just they looked like the team that was going to round out this half of football in front. But as we spoke about, the Collegians given the chance, and they've really taken advantage of that opportunity. And a great ball there from Jared Boyle, just laying it on to Thompson, who just put that big arm over the line and slammed it down.
Try there to Jared Thompson, locking the scores up at 4-4 with a kick to come.
I think we were going to say if someone was going to pull Collies back in, I reckon Jared Boyle was probably about Winks-like odds there, probably even shorter, $1.01.
Yeah.
And he's come up trumps for his side there again. It'll be Cameron Scott to attempt the conversion from just to the left of the uprights. And now it seems it's the Devils who really need to respond in this last 2 minutes before the break.
I'm anticipating a massive kick chase here from West Mitch. They'd be filthy on themselves letting that 4 points.
As Scott does move in, and geez, it looked ugly, but it's got over the flags have gone up. Gee, for a second there, I thought we'd gone off too early and we're going to be all locked up, but he did knock that one over.
Off the boot, you couldn't have backed it with stolen money.
As we see Green will be the man to get us back underway. So we've got a minute 20 here till half time. And I have to think Nathan Fiend over the moon where he finds his side. They haven't really clicked like he would have wanted them to, but they do find themselves up. As we said, it's just something they've got a knack of doing, Collie's never out of a game. Even when they look like they're not playing that well, they can always counter-punch and hurt you, and we've seen that right there as Coates brings the ball back. As they go left, Fayengar, a good carry from Fayengar. Geez, he's been very, very good in his stints off the bench in this one. Chalker also been good out on this left edge. He's driving his way forward. He's up on his own 40. Fayengar again, just straight over the top of Daly there. Really starting to cause some havoc through the middle. As they go across now to Boyle, a floating ball there to Blake Phillips. Justin Rodriguez making the tackle. Last tackle, Boyle puts that one along the ground. He's looking for touch, but it'll hold up there. And, oh, geez, they've come together hard there, the two men at the back. And they've spilt the ball there, just an entirely complete lack of communication there between Towers and Hurst over on that side. Don't think we'll get time to see this scrum pack as the hooter is about to sound, but a good kick there, and Collegians now really going into this half with their tails up, and it's probably going to be said, Johnny, the mental battle now resting with the Devils. They were on top for a lot of that half, but find themselves down by 2.
Yeah, I'm sure in that first 20, Nathan Fiend was looking for the quarter-time break, and this time, that last 2 minutes, I think Pete McLeod, he was looking for that hooter to go off, and that last set from Collegians was a lot better, and what we really know of the Collegian sides, what they are capable of. They had the Spinnaker up and wind in their sail in that last set of 6, and it was lucky the clock did run out there, because I'm sure there was points on the back end of that mistake there from Western Suburbs.
As we see, the rain actually poetically just seems to have stopped just as both sides have gone into the sheds, but we did see Collies there just starting to get to their kick a little bit and starting to mount some pressure of their own, and it's told there, but a really good first half. Obviously not that many points on the scoreboard, but certainly a pleasure to call thus far. Both sides really ripping in. We'll be back with the second half action in just a little while. Well, welcome back to Zims Park for the second half here of the Challenge Cup final. We will see who claims the silverware. It is Collegians leading 6-4. As we said, if you have just joined us, really fought back hard in that second half. West had most of the running on the back of the kicking game of Justin Rodriguez and Zach Green, but it was the 6 and 7 for the Dogs who really brought them back into the game. And as you were saying, Johnny, just before we went off there for the halftime break, Charlie Fainga really had a real match-turning stint there in the front row.
Massive. He is massive, and he went massive in that first 40 minutes of football we did witness here for this final. And just off the back end of that go forward, it's just going to allow the likes of Jones and Boyle to really demonstrate what their skill is with their kicking game. As we see Western Suburbs come onto the field, and West, they were dominant in that first 20, Mitch, and Collegians there in that second 20 minutes, they were sort of starting to get their nose back in front and got themselves in front on the scoreboard. Yeah, interestingly, the rain, only the slightest of drizzle here, so we're hoping that stays away for the rest of this half, and we'll see some expansive footy. So I'm sure the message from Pete McLeod would have been not to be too disheartened there, stick to what they're doing. It has served them well for the bulk of this clash so far, and trying to keep building that pressure, and points will come. I was going to play devil's advocate a little bit there, Johnny, and say take the first 2 points, but second 2 points, would you have gone for a bit more? Hindsight's a wonderful thing. It looked like it had served them very well, but if they had their time again, they might have just pushed it that little bit further just to try to get a couple more points. As we said, we'll be at a premium in these conditions, even as the rain dies down. As Green gets us back underway, sits up nicely there for Boyle, and Coates steaming in off the back fence. He takes it up towards the 20. We did see once they got some footy, the Dogs, the likes of Fainga, who we mentioned, but some of the other forwards there for the Dogs, Coates, saw Rory O'Brien coming into the game a little bit, and this man, Blake Phillips, breaks away from a tackle there, as he invariably does. Takes it up towards halfway as they come back into it. As we see now, Rory O'Brien out on the fringes. Got Ryan O'Connor on for Brody Riggin starting this second stanza here, Mitch.
Can be very, very dangerous out of dummy half. There was one game that really comes to mind last year. I can't recall the opposition, but Ryan O'Connor just really blew them out of the water from dummy half. As this ball goes up high, it's a testing one for Towers at the back, and he didn't want to go anywhere near that one, and it falls rather fortunately for him, but he'd been made to play it just in front of his own post. So Collies come out there with the lead and get to the end of their first set with the kick. So we see some players just a bit worse for wear out of a couple of collisions there. You love to see that, West. You're doing your tough out of your own end, and you give the defensive line an extra 15, 20 seconds to get set. Who wants this carry, boys? It'll be Will Tom, so good effort there from the winger coming in to help the big man out. Josh Daly goes blindside. Rankmore, it looks like, over on that side. And that's Green now taking it up towards the 30. So we just see, you can really hear the talk now with that rain dying down. Rodriguez with the kick. Kick pressure there. And it's picked up by Cassidy, so the Dogs go right back on the attack. He's got away from Towers, and now he's spilled the ball. And now it's the Devils on attack. So it's all happening here in the first couple of minutes of this second half.
I was about to say, it must have been one of those famous Nathan Fiend speeches at half-time. It's really amped up this Collegian team. A couple of little mistakes early and just allowing Western Suburbs just to work it out of their own area. They would have been on the ropes there then if Collegians hadn't have spilt the ball.
We have touched on that game a couple of weeks ago against the Rule. If I recall, Johnny, it was that day the Thrull kickers, mountain of time to kick the ball, were really putting them under pressure. And in the second half, we saw Corey Tulloch and Walshy there getting absolutely hammered every time they kicked the footy. So we might have seen a similar edict come out there in this half as that ball gets dumped out the back. Daly, he takes it up towards the 40. As they come now to Rodriguez. Jimmy Green back off his left foot. Good run from Green back through the middle. Onto Towers, and that one looks like it might have gone forward, but they'll say play on. So the Devils turning it on here. Rankmore going towards the try line. That is the last tackle. Mountains of space right through the middle if they go there. They've gone blind. And the ball's just spilled out. That might be a case of offside there for the Dogs, but the Devils have come away with it, so it will be 6 again. Jeez, I really think the blindside was a poor option there, Johnny. There was a mountain of space back towards the post, and they've tried to do it in a match box, but Rodriguez goes off his left foot. Still numbers to the left if they come. Collie's just starting to get their line back in order. Long ball there from Towers. Pello, well, he's reeled that one in. He'll find his brother, Tony Pello, out here on the wing. Pello to Pello, well, absolutely fantastic handling there. It's a dead set cake of soap there. He's reeled it in one-handed and found Tony Pello with the pass. So they do eventually score the points. I tell you what, when they went blindside, I thought it was an absolute brain fade, but they get it back and some fortune there, and they hit back and probably get a reward for some of the pressure that built in that try. Tony Pello coming onto the side, I'll tell you what, the way he's played in the halves, Tony Pello, through this pre-season, I was certainly going to say Pete McLeod just really has to find a place for him somewhere. As we've said, the halves with the 7 and 6 on their back this evening, very deserving of the first choice gig there in those playmaking positions. But whether it's the wing, at fullback or wherever, simply got to find a space for Tony Pello the way he's played through the pre-season.
He's got to be in that 1 to 13 each week, and I don't think you were the only one blowing up that West went that blindside, Mitch. I seen Justin Rodriguez with his arm up, and when they went the blind, lucky he wasn't mic'd up because there was profanities, I think, coming out of his mouth. But West worked their way over the other side of the field, and great hands there by Pello, and Pello to Pello over in the corner. I'm sure that's not the first time those two boys have combined on this field.
May well not be the last either as this game goes on. Green, very tough assignment here. I can't see if he's got the screw-ons in. He'd want to. Just inside the chalk here. As we said, the pitch in supreme condition. I'll back him for the distance, Johnny. The way he's been heaving it so far. A few of those boys in the beer cabin behind him, sure to give him some grief. And he struck that really well. It's coming back. Well, that's a fantastic kick with the ground as it is underfoot. Never really looked like missing, went out to the right. And in the scheme of things, Johnny, that's huge to get back to that 4-point buffer.
That's massive, and what a sideline conversion. It was just, that's really given Western Suburbs even more confidence. They would have gained more confidence with Pello scoring in the corner, but the extra 2-point conversion there from Zach Green. They've just got the wind back in the sail here, and off the back fence there. Was that Marty Cramp taking that one?
It's actually, looks like Speechley's. Young Speechley's come on the field there, and he's picked up the ball, so obviously a bit of a preconceived plan from Pete McLeod, and he's sticking to it. He's going to give those guys who we touched on an opportunity. He might have just gone in the dummy half roll there, Speechley. As we see Green and Cassidy just coming to grips with each other in back play there. And again they go. Looks like Dylan Laurie, and they're right into it in the back play here. Haven't seen any heavy leather getting swung yet, but Laurie, Green, Cassidy, Boyle, they're all involved here. So it looks like it's a bit of a 9-a-side game over here where the footy is. It is play on, and they've called a stop to it. Plenty involved in it there. I didn't see, as I said, a few boys wanted to let a few go. As I said, there's been some feeling, but I didn't see any of that. But already a lot of feeling in this one. You have to think that will have to grow. Cassidy just went on with the tackle there on Green. Green didn't really like it a whole lot.
You needed the split screen there, like, you know, on Sky Channel, Sky 1, Sky 2. You really needed one vision on the football there and one on the fight that was going on, but I think we'll have a few of these players called out here, Mitch.
Mate, call me in the Neanderthal. I didn't even watch the footy. I was back there what was going on, but hope we don't see too much come from it. There wasn't really much harm done with my view of it. Didn't see too much really in it. We might just see the two instigators called out here. So it is Green getting the call. Don't have the benefit of a referee's mic, so we'll have to go on what we see afterwards. But Blake Phillips just waiting off to the side. I think he thinks he's about to get a bit of a chat as well.
Yeah, I think Buffer should start walking over.
But as we see there, just a warning there, it looks like. And now Phillips making his way forward with his man, Liam Cassidy. He's not the type of bloke who takes a backward step, young Liam Cassidy. He'll be playing there on Sunday for the Illawarra against Group 7 as well, provided he gets through this one. I was just talking to Chook Neal. Of course, his name's on that trophy. They'll be fighting for the Trevor Farmer Ian Neal Trophy on Sunday. And some of these boys, I tell you what, they're going to have a lot of fun backing up on Sunday because there's going to be some bruised bodies, I tell you.
They would have rather played tomorrow, wouldn't they? Get it over and done with the next day, but 48 hours after a game of... And it's going to be a tough game of rugby league they're going to back up from for this one.
Yeah, so those Group 7 boys will be home with their feet up there ready to come and try to spring an upset, I'm sure.
I'm sure they're watching on the live vision through Bar TV Sports and just thinking... They're hoping for these two sides to just bash each other.
On the waters too, I'm sure. Adam Bazina runs a very tight ship. As we see Brennan plays this ball, this will be Chalker now. Still driving his way up towards halfway. So 10-6 the score. West Devils in front. Boyle now on to Cassidy. You'll see plenty involved in the tackle there. Pello and Speechley doing the work there. We see Phillips. He's up. They've got plenty of numbers in on that tackle. Blake Phillips will play it to Rigg. They go left to Jones. Not the pass he was looking for, but he put this one higher. Testing one for Towers. And he's taken that well. Very well there, Towers. They looked to drive him back into the in-goal, but he stayed in the field of play. Well, he played all around the last kick that went his way, but done very, very well there. But, there it is again. Sorry, Pete McLeod, I'll buy you a beer, mate. The commentator's mock. Well, it truly strikes Luke Towers there. Luke, I'll buy you a beer as well. And now with the Dogs right back on the attack now. He's done such a good job to field that kick and just a little bobble in the play the ball, Johnny.
Yeah, it was a great take from Towers. He only had eyes for the ball then. He had a lot of black and red jumpers steaming on, chasing that kick, but... He took it well, but just a little bobble there playing the ball, and it's really given Collegians now a great opportunity 10 metres out from the Western Suburbs try line, Mitch, and with 11 minutes to go here, there is some points on offer.
Ben Jones now from the back of the scrum. Jones 5 metres out. That's Rory O'Brien. He's still pumping his way forward. Got closer than... we probably expected him to there. He'll play it to Rigg. Rigg back on the inside for Phillips. He loves that play, Blake Phillips. But West wide awake to that one, and now Jones back towards the post. Good defence there from the Devils. We said it's a pet play of Phillips and Rigg, but they were all over Phillips as soon as he got that footy, and now it's Rigg from dummy half. Certainly sucks some defenders into the middle, so space on both edges. They go that way now to Boyle. Second man there for Ona. And Pello comes in off the wing and makes the tackle he had to because Effaramo had a saloon passage to the try line if Saxonona could have found him with the footy. And Boyle, that's bananaed back across the post, and it looks like it's been reeled in there by Field. And they'll say he's taken that in the field of play into his own in-goal. Great take there from Field. It was an awkward one. He had the chasers coming through on him. Has played a fair bit of fullback in his time as well, so a throwback to his days there. But certainly trying to find some vulnerabilities through the middle, Johnny, and not a lot of adventure on the edges. Will be green now, as we see this time. The Collies boys are right back on halfway for the dropout, and Boyle fields that one, and Coates steaming onto this one. Met there by Jaron Power, it looks like, who's come on the field, and Speechley as well. Dylan Laurie still there. I'm not even sure if Dylan Laurie's had a spell. He's been right in the thick of things. Phillips. Well, that man definitely hasn't had a spell. As he goes up towards the 30. This is Coates again, second carry of the set. Both defenders go low. Rigg to Jones. Jones, second man there for Scott, chiming into the back line, but just bobbled that one a little bit. Manages to reel it in before he hits the deck. Blindside there for Dylan Manton, it looks like. Or rather, Brad Manton. Jones now, he's again with the kick. It's a lofted one. Boyle giving chase through, and he's dropped that one. Boyle, he got that one out of the air. and it's just bobbled that one as he went down. It was a heavy contest. And a bit of a let-off there for the Devils. As that man, Dylan Laurie, as I said earlier, be the first man you'd give a under-23s rep jumper to this year. This man also has been outstanding, especially in that first stint, also in that side. So there is one person who's enjoying watching this. I'm sure it's Illawarra coach Wade Forrester. Just hoping they get through, though, as well. As Power plays that one, they go blindside to Rodriguez, back on the inside there for Pello, and he spilt that one. Pressure from the inside there from Boyle. Ball gives him a bit of what for afterwards as well. Was all over Pello there on that one. He saw that play coming. And he just spills that one. And so Collies with another chance to mount an attack from inside the Devils' half. We just see now, it looks like Tommy Bartley's come on. As well for the Dogs. Is this scrum just a little bit slow to pack? Boyle rolls that one back on, just a little bobble there. Made it difficult for Rigg, but he scoops it up and plays on. Power and Green making that tackle. Faingar still driving his way forward. Just been so hard to handle in the middle. He takes it up towards the 20. Boyle now at first receiver. Flat ball there for Thompson. Pair combined 4. The Dogs only tried the match thus far. Rigg comes left of Phillips. We're 7 minutes out from the break. It's typically the time Blake Phillips does start looking for his opportunities. Rigg goes to Jones. Jones off his left foot again. He's close to the line. I think he was pulled down there by Powell, but he's got there. And they're the benefits you get out of a half that thinks run first, pass second. And they rushed him there, but he went off his left foot twice, and strong as an ox too, Benny Jones, and manages to barge his way across there. Level thing up at 10 apiece.
Try there to Ben Jones. Knocking the scores up at 10-all with a kick to come.
So not much there for Benny Jones, but he's gone over there, Mitch, with a bit of fancy footwork there. And as you say, from that close, one of these halfbacks, step first, pass second, and just him and Thompson round that middle are really going to start steering this Collegians side forward, I tend to feel. And Benny Jones, he's hard to stop that close to the line. And really, was what Collegians needed, Mitch, was a try to level up the score.
He might even be getting a spell here, the try scorer, as we see him come to the sideline. Looks like Tyler Moon coming on in the 18. It looks like Effa Ramo's come in off one wing. And Josh Constable getting his go on this flank closest to us. As the flags go up, Tommy Bartley adding the extras there. So even with the game in the balance, it looks like there was also a plan there for Fiend to give young Moon an opportunity, and he's going to go ahead with that, even with this game poised as it is. The Dogs leading just by 2, 5 minutes to go in this quarter. I will just say we can't repeat what was said there, but it was in front of a word lift, yelling there for the Devils, and it's certainly what they're going to be looking for here. They need to lift. Been right in this one. Good first up contact. I think it was Zach Blay on Charlie Faingar. Well, that's why you never doubt a redhead, Johnny. I tell you what, he's just freaking Charlie Faingar. We've been rapping him all game about getting forward. He got absolutely smacked there. There was plenty of numbers in that, so we're still right up for this contest. Brodie Rigg shuffling away from a couple of tackles. He'll play it on his own 20. Now it's Thompson. Rankmore. And they'll say it's forward from dummy half, so just like that, the momentum swings again, but Thompson really trying to get on the front foot there as they were on the back foot. You put that down to that first up collision there. It was Zach Blay, I think, and a couple of others involved on big Charlie Faingar. I suppose they knew he wasn't going to pass it, so they got some numbers in on him, but turning it with their defence there, the Devils. And now they have a golden opportunity.
You wouldn't have had to pay your $5 at the gate to hear that contact. You would have heard it up the street, Mitch. That was massive from Zach Blay. Really lifted the Devils here, and a forward pass from dummy half has just given the boys in the red jumpers a real big opportunity here, 30 metres out.
We have seen, as good as this game has been, both sides, some play-the-ball penalties, some inside the 10 penalties. They've really had a knack of giving their opponent a bit of a leg up at times. I think the team that can cut that out in this last 13 minutes will ultimately get the nod at the end. Speechley, dummy half, Green right to the line. He's got Green on his outside. Dropped out the back there from Green. Marty Cramp, he'll settle towards the post. As we see Boyle just swinging the arms there. Speechley to Green. We saw Justin Rodriguez, his arms went up on this side. He wanted the footy. He'll probably get it this time. Second man now for Rodriguez. Flat ball there for Green. Good line from Green. But well read also by the defence. Still edging his way towards the try line. He'll be made to play it just a metre out last tackle. They're going to come. Speechley's put that through. And it wasn't a bad kick, but it looked like he just hadn't given some of his chasers the nod there. He put it into the in goal, but not a West Red Devils chaser in sight. Now a 7-tackle set, so not at all the end of the set. Pete McLeod would be looking for from his men. Justin Rodriguez was there on the blind side. But a let-off now for the Dogs as Ono brings it up towards the 30. They said we haven't really been able to fault the Devils' kicking game throughout this one. But not the best option there as Thompson takes it up towards halfway and he's left a Devils player in his wake. I think it was that man, Zach Blay, so he's right in the thick of it. Looks like he's all right. So Thompson will play it to Rig. He goes out from dummy half. Rodriguez and Speechley making that tackle. O'Connor out of dummy half. He's on to Phillips. Phillips is up on the Devils 30. Rig, short side to Boyle. He's put that high. Very, very high. It looks like it's Hurst going back and it's been allowed to bounce. And that'll be an offside penalty, you would think. It will be. Interesting call here for Collies. You'd think they put the pressure on. Already do have that 2-point lead. 2-4. Conditions do play a part. There is only 1 minute 54 on the clock before the three-quarter time break. So that may just influence the decision made as we see the referee just calling out the skipper Rodriguez. And it looks like Tony Pello in from this wing. Just looking to see and get an indication of what Colley's going to look for. It looks like they're going to go for the bigger points on offer. So it was Luke Towers getting the bit of a talking to there. So we see Zach Blay has come from the field here after that knock. Now it's Fainga, one man off the tap, and a great shot again. Well, there you go. We said it before, Johnny. Coaches will be coming up here and just handing us a bit of coin to not mention or not give anybody a rap, because every time we do, they seem to not have their best moment. That was Marty Cramp, I think, putting the shot there on Fainga. So he's earned some attention with his performance. Fainga as Leah Tinger now making his way forward. Finds his front again as they look to Green on the short side. He's got Rankmore, I think it was, over on that edge. They go short side again for Green with the kick. He's looking to get this one in behind. And he has. Bartley going back for it. And they get a good chase on the end of it. So the Devils there going back to what served them so well early in this game. They got to the end of their set, got to a kick. And now are really, really congested in their defensive line. Going to look to put the pressure on. Although, as we've seen, Johnny can't afford to give away a penalty for being a little bit too eager here. Sure, that's a message that has gone out to the boys. Piggyback penalties are a killer. As Ona now takes it up. So slow going for him as well. It's a good tackle underneath there from Power. Fainga. Another good contact there, but he drives through that one. It was Marty Cramp again up to meet the big fella. Boyle now will look for the kick. He's inside 40. He's looking for the 40-20. Tom goes back though and read it well. Good positioning there from the winger. Obviously we know how long and how precise Jared Boyle's kicking game can be. And Will Tom there, Johnny, just got back, read that perfectly and catches on the full.
Absolutely. That was perfect from Will Tom. And just going to work it out of their own area now, Western Suburbs. We see the clock tick down in this third quarter period. Mitch and Finger, he's really drawing attention from Marty Cramp. I wonder if that was a message out from Pete McLeod. Must have given the water runner, must have given Marty Cramp a tap on the shoulder and said, Finger's yours.
May well have just been a collective shout too from the Devils big men. Said we need to man up here. They were really good early on, but as we said, some of those Collies big men started to really get things their own way there. But West bouncing back. What a game, Johnny, to be honest. Just the ebbs and flows. We came here not knowing what sort of clash we'd get given the rain and the conditions. It's a pre-season game, but there is some silverware on offer, and both sides really playing with the full knowledge that there's a trophy to be won at the end of it.
Trophy and a bit of prize money, Mitch, is on offer there. And as we spoke last week's game down at Dapto Showground between Western Suburbs and Dapto, it was to and fro, and even up to the last, the full-time siren had gone in that game. We still didn't know who was going to be the winner due to a penalty kick after the full-time siren, and I see this game going down to that as well. Off-air we spoke about which way this is going to go. We both can't decide. I came into this game thinking Collegians are long odds-on favourites, but Western Suburbs have really stuck it to them in this game, and I've been super impressed with the West boys out there tonight. But I'm not going to write off Collegians. They're just one of those sides that can win a game from any position on a football field, whether they're 10 points down or 10 points in front. They can really, once they put their foot on the accelerator, they've got some go forward in it.
Yeah, indeed, absolutely they do. And as we touched on those quarter-time break, it played against the Devils at quarter-time. It probably played against Collies at half-time. But I can say going to this third quarter break, very evenly poised, both sides with their tails up, both sides really throwing themselves into this last 20 minutes. It's going to be a hell of a last 20 minutes. Hopefully the rain stays away. But both coaches, I've got to say, would be pretty happy with what they've seen from their sides. They're both the ebbs and flows in this one. You have to expect that when you've got two very good sides out there going through their work. There's going to be ebbs and flows, momentum swings.
I'd like to thank the major partners.
And we've seen plenty of those, Johnny.
Yeah, definitely. And Nathan Foon, he must have confidence in young Tyler Moon, bringing Ben Jones off there. We've seen in that three-quarter time after scoring that try. So Nathan Foon must feel comfortable with what he's got in his bench players to really come out and be dominant and provide that bit of spark around that ruck in Tyler Moon. For a player like Ben Jones to come off the field, it's a massive call for Nathan Foon. So he must have a lot of faith in Tyler Moon, but to the Western Suburbs boys, Mitch, I'd like to see West win this, just for their confidence. 420 the season in front of them. They were one of those sides last year. I enjoyed watching them play football, and they were just missing that little 1% spark last year. And I reckon a win tonight for these West boys will really set the tone for their season in 2018.
It is the test. It's been spoken about whether West can get over the line in some close ones. So a very early test before a ball's even been kicked in the season proper of their ability to do that. I'll tell you what, when we're talking about closers, Collegians, the likes of Boyle, the likes of Jones, Nathan Fiend pulling the strings from the sideline, they do not get any better at closing out games than that trio we just mentioned. So a big, big test here for the Devils. Definitely near enough, if good enough.
I usually ask you before the game, Mitch, and I'm going to ask you now, mate, the tip, the last 20.
Oh, geez, you've put it on me here. Could have asked me before the game. Look, I would have said before the game, I would have said Collegians like you, Johnny. I would have tipped them. I didn't think they were odds-on favourites, so I thought it was very evenly poised, but I was leaning towards them just with the big man and the kicking game of Jared Boyle and Ben Jones to get them home. But the Devils came out, put a bit of egg on my face in that regard early on, kicked beautifully, really held the ball a lot. I just sensed the Collies have a little bit more running in their legs coming home. The Devils, that try over here, very good in this corner right in front of us. But we're slightly against the run of play there. I think in this second half it's mostly been the momentum with Collies, and I just think with those guys we mentioned they might eke this one out. But I've been proven wrong 10 times already today on numerous things. So anyone on the live stream betting on the outcome of this game, don't take my tips as we see. Here's that Tyler Moon fielding that ball. We've seen Jones, though, back on the field. Coates now taking it up towards the 30. We've always seen it's crazy to think there's only 90 minutes to go, and there it is. Well, I tell you what, that's the third one. And if they haven't got the message yet, you've got to wonder if they ever will. What do they say the definition of insanity is? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Well, we've seen it there. The referees have been very upfront in what they're doing, and the Devils here, it looks like they're going to take the opportunity to level up. They will. Not a bad call. I think we're only a minute into this second half. It's certainly kickable by Zach Green if he can level things up straight away just to go down this stretch. Not a bad call, and you've got to think if Green can knock this over, it's an absolute gift, 2 points being given up by something as simple as not playing the ball correctly.
Yeah, definitely. And we talk about Nathan Foom when his team makes a mistake. He fidgets with that hat. He would have thrown it in the Zines Park turf then. And Green with a great opportunity here to level the scores. And if you can convert this, Mitch, and it goes to 12 all, and Collegians will kick back off to West, and let's just hope that Western Suburbs can get to their kick off the return of points. We've seen last week, we watched Dapto score 4 tries, and they didn't complete one set from the 4 tries they did score in the return kick. So let's hope that Pete McLeod will be hoping that doesn't happen.
I know
that's
Pete
for
McLeod
sure.
will be hoping that, very much so. As Green moves in on this one. And he struck that very well. As we said, distance not a problem. I think that one's gone into Stockland, so Zach Green, I'll tell you what, he owes the ball boys a can of Coke after this one.
They've been busy, the ball boys, haven't they? They went over the fence down the southern end, now over the northern end.
Mate, he better get him a Coke and some red frogs because he's made their night a nightmare otherwise. So we are all locked up, 17 minutes to go. A very fair indication of the way the game has gone to this point. 17 minutes to go. Could come down to who really wants it more or who can just handle the pressure moments the best. As the Devils now bring it out from their own end. Looks like it was Rankmore on that side. That's Will Tom in off the wing. He'll play it there on his own 30. Now it's Marty Cramp. Big loping stride, Marty Cramp. He's up on the 40. And they will kick early. Not a bad option, you think, there from Green. He's put that deep down in behind both the men at the back there. A great kick from Zach Green. He kicked early again. Don't know if that was a call that came from the bench or whether he just came up with it himself, but certainly the right option. And now Colley's still coming back onside the Devils' defence with their tails up.
What about the kick chase from field there? He ran that kick down beautifully and really hampered Bartley there at fullback. And the Collegians boys only just getting back onside, and we're into the third tackle for Collies, and they're only just over their 20-metre line, Mitch. But there's Coates with a massive 10-metre spurt there.
They needed that one too. They were right on their back foot there, the Dogs, but a good carry from Coates. And now Thompson gets on the back of it, another good one. He's met well there in defence there, Leah Tinger. Tell you what, he's been impressive. The lock forward for the Devils. Not a lot of him, but as that kick goes down towards Towers, he'll field that one on the full. He comes back infield. Sees Rory O'Brien and says no thank you, but Rory O'Brien comes again and reels him in by the jumper. Rodriguez at dummy half. Hurst in off the wing, or it might be Kurt Field out there. He's up on his own 30. This time it's West a little bit slow to get back onside. The back and forth of this game perhaps starting to take a toll on both sides. Tom at dummy half again, or Rodriguez rather. He goes on to Rankmore. Good carry from Rankmore. He gets a dead end on the ground too. And Daly out from dummy half. Got to look for Daly. He's had a bit of a spell. He's had a bit of a rest here with Speechley getting his opportunity. So Daly might just start poking his head through the other side and looking for a couple opportunities of his own as they come to Rodriguez on the last. That's a good kick in too. He'll want it to hold up, but it'll roll dead. A very good kick nonetheless. I think J-Rod might have just preferred that to stay in, but got to their kick and put the pressure back on Collegians to bring it out from their own end. As we see Brody Rigg now down with some cramp. Tell you what, when it's a bit chilly and rainy, if you're getting cramp, it shows you how hard you've been working. Has got through a mountain of work there in the middle, Brody Rigg, another former Cougar as well. So we just stop Adam Sergeant Wilson using his medical degree there.
See J-Rod there just warming up the calves as well there, Mitch.
Starting to take a toll on both. I tell you what, they've certainly ended. It looks like Brody Riggy's going to come from the field there with that cramp. Takes the salt pill, the magnesium pill, or whatever it is they give them when the fluids get low. This is O'Connor onto the paddock. But the Devils all lined out in defence. That's Kane Brennan coming away from the scrum. He takes it up. He's 15 metres out from his own line. Plenty involved in that tackle. The ball just a little bit loose there in the carry, and they put him back towards the 10-metre zone. So some good defence there from the Devils, really muscling up. O'Brien, good contact early. He spilt the ball. I think it was Rankmore. It was Rankmore. Got up quick on Rory O'Brien there and just forces the error. 14 minutes left. We're all locked up at 12 apiece. And the Devils now with a chance to mount something. And we touched on it a little bit earlier. I tell you what, if I was Justin Rodriguez or Zach Green, I'd be looking to get Tony Pello in these conditions. The ground the way it is underfoot, just give him some early ball in some space. He can really cause some headaches. He's the third man off the scrum here. They go to Rodriguez and, oh, geez, he bobbles the pitch. I think he was thinking too early about giving the ball to Tony Pello out here, but he reels that one in. They come now to Laurie. That was a flat ball there. It was more than flat. It was forward, so now a let off from the west side.
I thought we were going to see a bit of a Pello combination there down that left-hand side from that scrum there, Mitch. We've seen Tony Pello go inside of Colby Pello there. So I don't know what sort of move the brothers did have in their minds, but by the looks of it, they were a little bit filthy about J-Rod there just bumbling that ball up, and we see a mistake. It was in good field position. Western Suburbs were in there. They had their chance, but little handling error and Collegians back on the attack.
Yeah, I know Rory O'Brien breathing a big sigh of relief there, because you have to think for both sides, both been guilty of some mistakes in their own end. It's obviously forgivable in these conditions, but as the game gets down to this critical stage, you've got to wonder how many chances either side can afford to give the other. As O'Brien now takes it up over the 30. Hard going there for Rory O'Brien, but he'll play it now to O'Connor. O'Connor goes left to Jones. He's got Phillips out there on that left edge. Offload there to O'Connor, and he's spilt that one too. Well, he does have a knack of getting the ball away there to Skipper, but if he had his time again, he might have just held that one, Johnny.
Yeah, I think he would have liked to have had that time over again. He would have held on to that ball. But how many times do we see Blake Phillips bump off that first defender? I reckon 9 times out of 10, he just gets through that first defender, and he's such a hard man to pull down. We just see his leg drive is just so unbelievable down that. It was down that short side, then he bumped off the first player, and probably a pass didn't really need to be thrown, Mitch, and Western Suburbs back with the pill.
Yeah, it's one of those things you always say, you teach young players coming through, if you're going to offload the ball, is the guy in a better position? And Rono kind of looked like he was looking for the next ruck there, so is the scrum a bit slow to pack? And as both sides guilty of making some mistakes, got to wonder which one will end up being the critical one. There it is, that early ball to that man Pello we spoke about, and now Colby Pello with some space. He have to come back in field. But there we see it, Johnny. It is, I think, where the money is for the Devils. And they have gone that way. Leah Tinger, he had to get down low to scoop that one up, but he does well. Daly at dummy half. Laurie, flat ball there for Cramp. Marty Cramp still going up towards the line. He'll play it on the 20. Daly, they go right to Green. Flat ball there for Rankmore. He's a bit in the Blake Phillips mould himself, Rankmore. Can shrug off a tackle. Get close to the line. He could be dangerous as they come now to Green. Back on the inside to Leah Tinger with some footwork. He'll play it 10 metres out just to the right of the right upright last tackle. So a big option here. And he might have bobbled that, but they've said play on. Rodriguez now drops that one on the toe. A good chase coming through. And Bartley will run that one dead. So the whole Collies bench went up here, calling for a knock on, but Leah Tinger just held on to that one, and a very, very good kick there from Rodriguez under a bit of pressure. He got it right where he wanted it, and young Tommy Bartley, no choice but to run that one dead. As we see Cameron Scott coming onto the paddock as well. Looks like he's going to go over into the fullback role.
They've got 4 stacked across the 10-metre line here, Mitch. They're not going to let a short dropout go again.
So they're not going to let a long one go either. They're right back here on their own 40-metre line. They know the boot that Jared Boyle possesses clearly. As Will Tom, just inside his touchline there, he did well. He's hit well underneath there, but Will Tom, great leg drive himself. He's near the touchline. But he'll play it there. Field there onto Rankmore. So we see Daly after dummy half, Leotinga. Just the conditions have just suited Leotinga to the ground. He is low to the ground and a bit of footwork. He's just really caused some havoc for the Dogs' big men. Second man now for Towers. Flat ball there for Pello. Pello off his left foot. He's looking for support. He's got his brother Tony in support, and the ball might have just come out. And you see a bit of a coach killer there yourself, Pete McLeod. So we see a call coming from the touch judge here. What is the call? It looks like he might have put the arm out the other way. He's saying it was... Well, the arm's gone up towards the Devil's side, so it looks as if the call from the touch judge has come that perhaps an attempted strip there from the Dogs and it's hit the deck. Either way, it looks like the Devils are going to get the ball back. And I have grave fears for Nathan Fiend's hat.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's good. That'll have a bit of greenery on it by the end of this 80 minutes, I feel. But the Pello boys down that left-hand side, Mitch, they are very, very dangerous, as we've seen tonight in these conditions. And a little bit of luck there going the way of the West boys.
Perhaps Nathan Fiend just sensing that a little bit. I've seen he's made some changes there. He's put Manton, he's put both his first choice wingers, Manton and Efaramo, on both flanks. Perhaps seeing that the Devils are getting a sniff of some opportunities out wide. So whilst keen to give guys a go, he does realise we're 8 minutes to go and there's some silverware on the line.
Looks like West said here, Mitch. Look at Towers just hanging out the back. I expect Green to do some fancy ball work here.
As we see Charlie Fangar, or is it Coates there, just striking at the ball. The world's biggest hooker in this scrum as they go to Green. Floating ball there, some space on the outside for Tom. He's slippery, perhaps wisely held there by Field. He'll play it now to Tom. Rankmore, good carry from Rankmore, still driving his way forward. That's a great run, but he's put up on his back there, and Thompson just lingering a bit in that tackle. Be a brave referee that gives a penalty there. There's some space on this side, a flat ball there. Pello still going, he's desperately close. Good read there from the winger. Efaramo on this side, he came in and he had to be involved in that tackle. As they go to Rodriguez. Dylan Laurie with a settler. Great shot there from Coates. He'll play it 10 metres out, dead in front of the post. Still some tackles to burn here for the Devils. Rodriguez, flat ball again for Tony. Pello goes off his left. Boyle making the tackle. Rodriguez, at what point do they attempt the one? Green might go for it right now, and that's taking a deflection, so it'll be 6 more if they can reel it in. But Rodriguez has knocked that one on. He's going to say it went backwards. So there it goes. Obviously, he ended up on the other side of the footy, but perhaps his first attempt just brought that one down. But a sign of intent there. I was about to say, at what point do you consider the one? And Zach Green, I'll tell you what, if it hadn't taken the deflection, it looked good off the boot, Johnny.
Yeah, definitely. That was excitement plus that set of 6, wasn't it? It was good attack there from the Western Suburbs Red Devils, and Collegians equally up to the task defensively. And Zach Green, the Collegians defence just coming up on Zach Green and shutting down that dropout. And I think
they were all offside there, the Devils. One of those tight ones where the ball just stays in the scrum a bit, but definitely a penalty. So, interesting. We will say 5 minutes to go, Johnny. We do go to extra time. If this one is all locked up. As we see the touch.
And I'm sure, Mitch, if it does go into extra time, we've got Wade Forrester hoping this doesn't for his boys on Sunday. And Adam Bazuna, he'd be sitting there licking his lips about this game.
There is 5 minutes each way if we are locked up at full time, and after that we go to Golden Point. As Thompson there, good shot. Dylan Laurie over the top. The contact continues. O'Connor now out of dummy half. Second man there for Boyle. Long ball there for Moon. That goes back behind him. Pello giving chase. And, well, he's gone straight around them there, Moon. He's got support on the inside. And he turns a poor pass into almost a killer blow there. Moon on this edge. Faingar with the ball off his left foot. Last tackle. Doesn't look like they're going to attempt the one. The Dogs, they're going to go for the glory. And that's picked up beautifully there. I think it was Towers. And again, you've got to wonder if they had their time again, would they have gone for the 1 point? Jared Boyle can kick him from dead set halfway. But they chanced their arm there.
If the scores are still locked up, then it'll be Golden Point.
We are in the pre-season though, so you've got to like a side and a player that backs themselves in those moments. A repeat set there would have been really twisting the knife, but the Devils, through the work of... It was actually Pello back there on that side. Tony Pello that was, who came back and grabbed that ball, as we see Green with the early kick again. And he looks like he's caught these back two out of position again. It'll sit up for them, but a good kick from Green and again a good chase from the Devils. There's one thing Pete McLeod will take away from this one, John, is the effort of his kickers and the way his big men up front have backed their kicks with their chase. Brennan onto Effaramo in off the edge. Interesting to see if Collies will get close enough for a shot of their own here. Thompson, that ball looked forward. And now there's a penalty on the back of it, so that'll be a super frustrating one. Do you take the two here?
I think they'll march their way down the paddock, Mitch, and opt for the field goal.
It's a tough kick, 40 metres out. As we said, very slippery underfoot, so hard to really bite down on a kick, so they will go for touch. Jared Boyle finds it there on that hill. Tell you what, there's some hardy fans that have gone over that hill to watch this game. As we see Faingar now taking it up towards the 30. We're going down. We're inside the final 3 minutes, so Collies, not a lot of adventures so far in this set. They may just be angling for a shot at field goal of their own. I'll be watching that man, Jared Boyle, to see where he ends up in the later tackles. There's flat ball there on that side for Chalker. They may just try to take one back here. Faingar, he's going towards the post. Well, they're in a perfect position if they want to take it. Jared Boyle is directly in front of the post. It's a slower play the ball than he might have liked, and they're not going to go for it. They're going to go flat out there for Moon. Takes Pello on. Pello makes the tackle and throws him into touch. Well, great defence there from Pello. There was some space. He had to make the tackle one-on-one. That's where you want to put your outside backs, but Pello on that side equal to the task. And 2 minutes now for the Devils to march upfield, but if they're going to chance their arm, they do risk turning the ball over and giving the Dogs another shot at it in normal time.
Massive effort there from Pello, Mitch, just shutting down Moon, but I really thought that either Boyle or Benny Jones were going to take that 1 point. They were set up for it. Boyle was in ideal position.
As we see an interesting development, could be a telling one. Justin Rodriguez has just come to the sideline here. Don't know if it's cramp or something else, but he's got a bit of a limp. He'd certainly be one of their key men down the stretch. So Brad Speechley, we've talked a bit how good he's been through this pre-season. He gets a chance to try to guide his side home here. Rankmore. He's up over the 40. Minute 14 on the clock. Speechley dummies. He's up towards halfway. And there's a penalty. Well, that's an interesting one now. There is only a minute on the clock. I think you almost have to back Green to go, but he's not going to. He's going to put it over the touchline. I don't think he would have had any problem with the distance, but the man who would know best is Zach Green himself, and he went straight for touch.
What a last 45 seconds we've got here, Mitch.
They're not probably going to get a full set of 6 to set up for it here, the Devils, so perhaps 1, maybe 2 more carries before they go for it. Daly, flat ball there for Blay. Almost a high one there from Fainga. That would have been a gift, 2 points.
Zach Green is
at the back. He's going to go for the shot. He struck it pretty well. And it looks as if that's gone straight through. It has. And there you go. 19 seconds on the clock, counting down. Collies are going to try to rush back for the kickoff here. I don't think they're going to get the time to get it in, although we see the West staff now desperate for them to get back on side as we see 8-7-6. So they're just going to have to kick it without a tee here, it looks like, just to try to get things back underway. It goes 10, and Leah Tinga scoops that one up, and that'll be all she wrote. Well, an absolutely epic game of footy there, befitting a final. It will be West who claim the first piece of silverware on offer in 2018. An absolute thriller there, and Johnny, pretty fitting that Zach Green was the match winner there because he was probably just about the pick of the players out there.
Yeah, definitely had an enormous game. He just directed his team around the paddock. Him and J-Rod really directed these boys around the paddock, come off the back of their forwards going forward. But also off that last kick-off there, Leah Tinga ended up with the ball. He was huge throughout this game. He was probably the best of the forwards in my mind for Western Suburbs, and Zach Green in the back line. So both them men had huge games for West, and that'll be a massive confidence boost for the West boys heading into the season proper we're going to see in a few weeks, Mitch.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the talk sort of all week as I spoke with some of the guys in the West camp. Was what was spoken about a lot through the back end of last year as they approached the finals. Had a real run of outs against their fellow top four sides, the Devils. And as you said, Johnny, to get it done by a point against the reigning premiers here in these conditions in what was such a tough night for both sides, that's got to be monstrous. Monstrous for their confidence. As we'll see the presentations will get underway. The rain has held off long enough for a presentation to be held on the ground. See the great Chris Bannerman, the hardest working sports administrator in the world, out there for the presentation.
He's on screen live on Bar TV Sports, so I'm definitely sure he'll be there tonight watching the live stream replay, Mitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for a great game of football. The conditions are two very good teams. Commiserations to Collegians, the defending premiers. But congratulations to the very courageous Western Suburbs. We look like we're going to extra time and then golden point. It's a great finish to a thrilling match. I'd like to call upon Mr. Ian Neal, Chairman of the Illawarra Division Board of Management, to say a few words, and then the presentation of the trophy from Mr. Warren Weaver and Mr. Tony Butcher from Carlton United Breweries.
Tell you what it is, the VB Cup. They've heard some of the sponsors' product, I'll tell you that much, Johnny.
Congratulations to West, a wonderful win. Commiserations to Collies. We thought we were going to extra time. I'd just like to welcome Warren Weaver and Tony Butcher from CUB, who sponsors this event tonight, and I'd like to call on the captain of West to come over and collect the trophy.
So Justin Rodriguez will come forward to claim this one. Should we call him the Sugar Man? Is he shaking hands there? He'll have a bit of a chat there.
Yeah, firstly, thanks to Collies for such a good game. I'm sure we'll have probably 3 or 4 more of those during the season, so we won't take much out of this, but it's great to get some silverware. Boys, trophy's the wrong way, thanks Marty. Boys, great performance today. We really dug in, we stuck in that arm wrestle, and we come up with a cup. And yeah, thanks to the crowd coming out in the crappy weather. I know I wouldn't have come if I wasn't playing, so thanks to them.
Forthright as always. As it looks like...
Thanks everyone, that wraps up the presentation. Congratulations to our 2018 VB Challenge Cup champions, Western Suburbs. Boys, if we can come over and get a photo, the trophy.
Well, there it is, as we said, a huge confidence booster for the Devils. A great start to the Pete McLeod era as well, it must be said. Done a great job with this side through the pre-season. They get the nod this evening. I think Justin Rodriguez put it best. We'll probably see 3 or 4 more of those between these two sides before the year is out. And I'll tell you what, Johnny, I can't wait if tonight was any indication.
Yeah, if that's just a bit of a warm-up, 2018 is going to be a cracker of a season, Mitch. And J-Rod's right what he said. These two sides will clash a few more times throughout the season, and these two sides we are going to see at the pointy end of the competition. The likes of these two and Dapto and Thurul, they're your top 4 for season 2018 for my mind.
Well, there we go. That's all she wrote here at Zeems Park. It is the West Red Devils. They are the VB Challenge Cup champions. They win 13-12, a field goal, an absolute thriller. Thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for joining me, Johnny. I'm Mitch Jennings from the Illawarra Mercury. Bring you the action for Bar TV Sports. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you out there soon somewhere in the Illawarra.